So I'll start this recording now, and then we're going to do a short auto layout example. So first and foremost, right, let me have a text here, text, but there's no way I'll talk about this without having maybe one or two other things, so maybe image or icons or so. But let's first and foremost have a text, and this is a title, yeah, and then let's say this is the image. Ctrl D to duplicate this image and then have it here. So this is the image here. I'm seeing some black colors there, so let me change those black colors into and the black color is coming from my circle, so let me change that into maybe because I'm on a dark background here, so let me change that into maybe gray, exactly, or maybe this green, exactly. That's fair enough. So I'm seeing if I select everything again, I'm seeing a shade of black again, and that's from the second circle that I reduced the opacity. Do you understand?
Yes.
So I'm going to change it to this green color again, so that becomes visible. All right, I can turn off the opacity and reduce the opacity again, so to maybe 10 again, exactly. So, and that looks like this. It's there, but it's just a bit fainted. All right, so this is the image part, and they are all grouped. So we have the image, and then we have the text. So I'm going to select both of them so that I can be able to control a lot of things. I'll just make them auto layout, and that gives me the privilege to do a whole lot of things. First of all, I'll start first with the direction. It gives me the privilege to change the direction. And for example, I think this, for example, this is where the direction makes sense. Let's say we have menu like this. You are designing for the web, and you have menu like home. Now mind you, I'm not typing the home and then the about inside each other. I'm typing them separately, like they are standing alone on their own.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Control Z. They are standing alone on their own. So contact. So now let's say we have this, and then I can just make all these auto layouts. So automatically these are turned to my side menu. Let me duplicate this. If I duplicate anything inside here, it's going to extend the shape of the auto layout. It's going to extend that space. So I can call this gallery. If I duplicate again, it's going to extend that shape. I like it. I can call this services. If I duplicate again, I can call this events. If I duplicate again, I can call this my blog. So with the auto layout, I'm getting the privilege to even add more to my menu.
Yeah.
Are you understand what I'm saying? So what I started
Yes.
with was just 3 menus, but when my stakeholders started making corrections, they realized that they want more than 3 menus, and because I've made auto layouts in the first place, so it was it's
Yeah.
very easy for me to duplicate, because it keeps adjusting the shape of the auto layout. Imagine if I've done this with group, I'll have to start on grouping and then copying and pasting and adjusting some things manually. But
Yeah.
then it's just giving the space of, it's just adjusting this in itself, and then it's setting a space of 2 pixel, setting a space between them of 2 pixel. I can even control the space. Maybe 10 pixel is what I want, you can see. Maybe 5 pixel is what I want, you can see. I can control the space, and I can select all of them and then change them from bold to maybe semi bold and all that, and that still work perfectly well. But then there's another thing that I can do here. I can even add a background color to them. So I'll turn on the fill, and then give this fill maybe this kind of green, or maybe this kind of color, this blue. Yes, now I have the background set for my menu. All right, so now, or maybe change it to this kind of green. I think I like this green. No, that's too dark. Let's use this one. That's too light as well. So let's even make it a gradient green. I just want something that is going to look nice. Yeah, exactly. This looks so nice. So I can turn this one to black color, to this kind of black, and then I make the black 100%. Yeah, so here we have it. That's shades of gradient, a gradient green. I like it that way. All right, that makes sense. So now one thing is, I have my menu, but the background, they are not spacing from their background. They are not spacing from, so it's kind of like so looking ugly. So what I can do is, because it's auto layout already, I can just adjust the padding left and right. You see that? Now
Yeah.
my what's it called, my menu are sitting in the center of their background. I can even adjust the padding top and bottom. Yes, so this is more like side menu in what's it called, for mobile version, for mobile app design, sorry, for mobile app, or for mobile web design. When you browse some
Okay.
website on the mobile phone through Google
Yeah.
Chrome, whenever their side menu opens, this is the way it opens. So in this case,
Okay.
I want the if it is what's it called that I want, if it is menu for website, for desktop site, that is for desktop screen, not mobile screen. I told you this for mobile. Do you
Yes.
understand? Exactly. If it's menu for mobile, what I can do is I'll just change the direction, and it turns like this. You can see that, and that's it. I just have it for desktop. So with auto layout, I can just
Okay.
change the flexibility of my menu from this. But mark you, there's one but in auto layout. The moment you drag this thing like this, don't think what you adjust here is the padding. No, what you adjusted here now is the shape of the auto layout. So if I turn this to another direction, you see what it looks like? I've adjusted the shape.
Oh.
Yeah, not the padding. So Control Z. So it's very very important to note that. But then it can be the way to go around it is, if you adjust the shape like this, thinking is the padding, all you just have to do is you might need to detach the auto layout, and then we auto layout it again. That's how to fix it. But if that for the mobile version, what you want to adjust is the padding right, what you can do is you set this to independent padding. So with that, in that case, you can be able to adjust the padding right like this. And mark
Okay.
you again, what is worth noting is when you turn the direction, you can see the padding right is still there for that direction, for the desktop direction.
Okay.
So one thing for sure is, when you are doing this kind of adjustment, it is important that when you are doing for mobile version, you can set this explicit independent padding. When you are doing for mobile version, you have to set this independent padding, and then set the padding right independently. So when it now comes to the desktop, you duplicate this, and then you adjust this back to the normal way that it was, and then turn the direction to what you want it to be. But mark you, don't always leave your title convention, that is your naming convention, as frame, what frame, blah 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 blah. I can say
Okay.
menu desktop. So I know that this is for desktop, and I can say, oh sorry, this is supposed to be underscore, not brackets. Menu desktop, and I can say this is menu mobile. I love this way of naming things because it helps we developers a lot. It guides us. It guides us throughout the point where we want to start developing things. So it helps us
Okay.
give the right class to our code. So it's important that although developers can always give their classes the name that suits them, but one thing for sure is, for a beginner in tech, for a beginner as a web developer, if you don't name
Yeah.
it properly, the person might struggle to name his, what's it called, his classes well. So I mean that this just solve the headache of having to name the class whatever they want to name it. And one beautiful thing about auto layout again is, if I delete one thing from here, it will adjust. You
Yes.
can see it will adjust it. If I delete one thing from here,
Yes.
if my stakeholder say they don't want gallery again, and I delete it, it adjusts it. And if I want to control the space between them, if 4% and 5% is too small, I can adjust the space like this. Auto layout, very beautiful thing to use. Alright, so I'm going to stop this video just now so that you can try your hands on auto layout. But before then, I have to just complete this design I was working on, so that it doesn't look like I'm doing a short half done project. I'll copy this, I'll paste it again, and then I'll put this here, and then I'll say Mexican sea fish barbecue. Alright, so I don't know which one to make auto layout with first. So I think I should make auto layout with the name of the food and then the food picture. I'll make auto layout with them, and then I'll use that to adjust the space between them. Are you seeing that? And then the next
Yeah.
thing I'll do is no, Control Z. I don't want to touch. I will have to leave this as, because the moment you touch the shape of the auto layout, this thing is in huge content will
Mm.
change to fixed height. Oh, sorry, I said huge. Org content.
Wow.
The org content, the moment you adjust the shape, the org content will change to fixed. That means that the size is now fixed. It is no longer orged, except you come back to
Okay.
change it to org content. That's when it comes back to its shape. All right, so now I'll just call this food image plus food. You don't need all these lengthy words. So I'm just trying to be more. You can just say image plus title, simple, plus food title. You don't need all these lengthy things I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to. This is just a personal preference. It's not the standard.
Okay.
All right. So after that, yeah, then I'll do another auto layout. So you can still do auto layout plus another text. So now this is auto layout because this is having image and title. So I can do another auto layout with the food image, food title with the price. I'll select both of them, then I'll do another auto layout. So I'll call this image
Title price.
title price. So here is the thing, there's a challenge here. If I try to do center, look at the direction it goes. If I try to do this, look at the direction it goes. So how then can we space this? I think let's try padding. Let's set this in, explicit and try padding left. Oh, that's wrong. So that means we're not going to do auto layout for this one. I'm sorry. Okay, sorry. That means the auto layout we'll have to do first would be
Up and down
up and down. Then this one will be the next one.
side.
So I'll undo this as well. So then the first thing first is going to be image and then the price. So we'll auto layout that, because obviously looking at this image, it shows that the title is in the center of the two of
Yeah.
them. All right, I'm going to call this img or ff for food f, just say f, that's for food, f mg, that's image underscore, then pr price. This encoding, this is the way we abbreviate things. Anyways, I'm just trying to, yeah, so that you can understand. So I'm going to select both of them again, and then f stands for food, then that's just the way we abbreviate it. And then I'll come here, I'll say f img price, then title t. Yeah, so now you can see auto layout automatically just set it to center align. Now the space is quite too much, so I'll have to just adjust it, so so that I can control that space, and we'll have that space at the right hand side. And then also my fish is supposed to extend outside. I don't know, maybe I'll just have to drag this outside a bit more like this, and then extend outside as well to the top like this. Or maybe I should just scale the size of the fish. I'll scale the size of the fish, control select the fish. I'm selecting the fish alone. No, I should be selecting the group. So I'll select this. When I did control select, it selected the fish only, so I came back to select the group. Then the next thing I'm going to do from here is I'll turn on my scale to K. Just turn on K. It's going to turn to scale 2. Then I'll hold alt to scale from the both side. Oh, sorry, not alt, shift. Alt and shift. Oh, it's not scaling from both sides actually. I think okay, scale just scales, and it scales like that, and then I'll press V back to move them, sorry, to move everything. Now the image and then the image and the fish are scaled, but the text and then the fish are looking so shabby. So what I can do is, if I adjust the auto layout of the, what auto layout do I need to adjust here to fix
the price and the fish?
Yeah, that's correct. So the price, that's image f, image and price, is what I will adjust here. So I'll just adjust this one. You can see it adjusts it. But then one thing is, there's something causing this price to not fit well, and that is the size of the fish. The fish alone itself, the fish itself, let me copy this out and paste it somewhere. Let me bring that out. See the fish. The fish is having too many big space that is taking. This space is too much. Do you understand? It's too much. So what we can do is we can cut this now. We can cut this off. That space we can crop it off.
And crop it.
Yeah, and then press enter once you're done. So I'm going to go do that to these two fishes. So if I had set this fish to be component, it will just be easy. I don't have to do it to them individually. I'll just do it to one. It will apply to the other one. So we'll talk about component next after you've tried your own hand on this thing I'm showing you shortly. You can see they've adjusted automatically. You can see.
Yes.
Exactly. The auto layout have adjusted automatically. So what I can do back again now is to adjust this back. Exactly. It was that space that the fish was taking that was making us struggling.
So price.
I'll just select both of them and then I'll center a line because the background is not a frame, so it's not entering into that, it's not clipping there. However, I don't think, yeah, that's it. It's not really center aligned because the fish is going to the top of the stuff like this. Exactly. And then it's going out as well. Exactly. So this is fair enough. So what I can do next here is the blacks are too black. So the black colors are too black. So what I can do is I'll select all of this, all the auto layout, and I'll come to selection colors. I'll target all the blacks that I have, and I'm going to change them from this traditional black to something like this. Yeah, make them a little bit soft. Yeah, fair enough. Oh, okay, that's actually the selection color is affecting the black stroke of the frame of the fish as well. So no, I won't touch the selection color. I have to do it individually. So I'll come down to the text of the fish. This is a case where we do them individually. If it's affecting things that is not supposed to be affecting, you have to do it individually. Exactly. But if it is not, you then use selection color, control and select this one, and then I'm coming, then copy this color. Yeah, exactly. These are the things I want. Alright, then select everything, the auto layout of this, and then this one, then group them, Ctrl G. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. This is just what I want to have and how I have it.
Why do we still need to group them?
Yeah, because the reason why I'm grouping them is because if I'm using them in project here and they are standing alone, they will be in different layouts. They'll be on the different layers. Ctrl Shift G.
Okay, you grouped them with the
I grouped the background, which is this.
Okay.
And then this, the auto layout. It's not the auto layout that I grouped. No, it's not the auto layout that I grouped. I grouped this auto layout and then the background.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying, can't we do the auto layout of that too? And then
if you do the auto layout on that, it's going to push the fish inside. I'm coming. I think no, I get what you're saying. Yes, you're correct. You can do the auto layout actually. Oh wow, that's a challenge. So we can't do the auto layout because they are not inside. They are not inside the frame, except I say frame selection. So both of them are now inside the frame. Then even if I still say auto layout, they are still going to be staying on top of each other because they are not. This background is not a frame. That this one should be wrapped inside.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a shape. It's a rectangle shape. So what we can do is we can select both of them and group them.
Okay.
Sorry, group them rather, not auto layout. Ctrl G. So when you now do Ctrl G, you cannot do auto layout. Oh, sorry, you can't. I'm sorry. You can't. Because they are separate objects.
Yes.
Yeah, so they'll be seeing each other. They'll be seen on top of each other. All right. So now let me just stop my recording here, and you can recording. So I'm talking about components next. Yes. So components. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is the best way to explain components. So look at, we have 3 cards. Yeah. So let's say you have something that is going to be surface or reoccur. What you can do to that is you can make a component of that thing because it's going to reoccur going forward. All right, so the first thing first I would like to do here, the first thing I would like to make a component first here is I like to make my circle shape a component because that is having the same effect all through and is going to resurface throughout my
Okay.
card. So I'm going to come down here into my group, into my auto layout group, and the first thing I would like to touch is I'll open my layers and I'll touch these circles, the shape behind the fishes. No, I think I should just touch the image itself. So I'll call this fish image a fish image, and I'll make this a component. I'll copy and paste this, and then I'll drag the master component out of that slot. So one thing I want you to observe is when you make a component, there is something we call the master and then the instance, more or less like master and servant, or let's say child and parent. So for the to differentiate them, the way it is the parent or the master component always come with this bulleted icon, while the child or the
Yeah.
instance component always come with this unshaded bullet icon. This is
Yeah.
shaded, this bullet, but this is not shaded. So this is just like a
Okay.
simple icon. So that's just the
Yeah.
difference. So you can tell whenever you're on the instance, and then you can tell whenever you're on the master. However, whenever you select an instance, if you come to the design panel, and on this side you will see a part that says that go to main component. So you can
Okay.
access the main component by clicking on that
Okay.
slot, and you can return back to the instance by clicking on this. So here takes you to the
Okay.
main component, telling you that you're on an instance. All
Okay.
right, that is not just the only thing we can make a component here. Another thing I would like to make a component is the entire card itself. Instead of calling this group 1, I can call this card 1. So it's a card. Why I'm calling it card is
Okay.
because it comprises of so many things. Or I can call it
Yeah.
module 1.
Okay.
Do you understand? Because it holds a lot
Yeah.
of things together. It holds a lot of objects, images, text, shapes together to form a module.
Mm.
So that's why I'm calling it
Okay.
module. So I'm going to rename this my rectangle to BG. That's the background, BG shape or background shape. See, I'm trying to give these things name I can relate to. So I call this one module 1
Mm.
here, and I can make it a component, and I can duplicate the component by like this. I'll hold Alt. Yes, now I have the main component and then the instance of that component. Now the
Okay.
next thing I want to do from here is I want to create another main component, because we have another main component whereby this is on the, oh, they are actually
Other side.
looking the same way. It's just that hey, now we have another main component whereby the positioning and then the shape of the background is
It's
different.
changed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now what I'm going to do is here is I'm going to make another instance here. So I have two instances of this main component. But the first thing I want to do is I want to detach this, because what happens is, here is the beautiful thing of component. Whatever I do to the main component, before I let me not talk about creating another component just yet. Let me close this eye for now. So now looking at this main component, this is one beautiful thing about component. Whatever I do to the main applies to the instance. So take for example,
Okay.
I switch the color of the main, the shape background from this. I'm targeting the shape background, and I'm switching the color from this to this. See what happens is applies on the instance. So which
Yeah.
means that in components, right, you can when you can apply a single correction to instances of a main component, and you can see
Yeah.
that it applies on the third one as well. So if this is not seafood BBQ, and if this is seafood sea lobster instead of sea fish, the change effect on all the instances.
Component.
Exactly,
Yeah.
instances. This is the main.
Instance.
Whatever I'm doing to the
Yeah.
main applies to the instances. All
Yeah.
right, so now let me turn this back to fish, and let's take for example, let's say I'm changing this color from black to maybe this red, and drag it down like this. Exactly. So yeah, looks nice, applies on all that, and that makes a lot of sense. It's looking more like it. I can change the color of the text as well. It applies on everything. Looks more like it actually. Sorry, take this color instead. Yeah, exactly. So this is what I want. Yeah, that's it. Beautiful. So but then there's another thing. It's not just to be changing colors and switching text and doing whatever, maybe resizing this text and applying that resizing to all of them. So everything resized. No, that's not just the only thing. That's not the only thing. Or maybe changing the font weight from bold to maybe regular, and then maybe increasing the size back again to maybe 8, or maybe 7, or maybe 6.5. So that's these are not just the only thing we can do. It's not just to be resizing, coloring, adjusting positioning, and all that. That's not just the only things we can do. In fact, we can do something. We can do even beyond that. So the first thing I want you to understand here is, first and foremost, I can detach one of these components from the parent. And if I do that here, if I detach this from the parent, so if I come down here to apply any change here, if take for example, if this change from BBQ to BBN, that's Big Brother Ninja, it only applies to this one. It doesn't apply to this other one. Look at that. So if this is not Mexican and it's maybe Angola seafood, Angola sea fish rather, or Ninja sea fish, it only applies to this
Why is it
instance.
applying to the third one?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Sorry, I didn't get that. I said, why is it not applying to the third one?
Yeah, that's what I'm
I
about to
didn't.
explain. Now it's only applying
Okay.
to this and it's not applying to this, and that's because we've detached this from the main component. You know, we right
Okay.
clicked the other time and then we clicked on detach instance.
Detach.
So we
Okay.
detach this from this. So this is automatically standing on its own now. It's no longer,
Okay.
it doesn't have anything in common with this one anymore. Alright, so now then I can now change the shape of this background. So first thing first is I'm going to switch this, flip this horizontally, and then I'm going to first off, let me change the color of this one back to what it was. Change it back to
Okay.
this. Yeah, let me leave this at this. So let me leave this at this. So then I'm going to change the shape of this object. I'll come down here. In case you're not seeing things clearly, just turn off these eyes. I turned off the auto layout. I turned off the auto
Yeah.
layout so I can be able to see the background shape. Then I'll come
Okay.
down to edit shape. Then I'll start adjusting the shape of the object. I'll click this up. Let me move this to the side. And then I'll adjust this up again, holding shift so it goes in a straight path. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then yeah, that's fine. I can even adjust it more so it go with shift, holding shift so it goes in a straight path. Alright, and that is that about that. I'm just done with that part. To rotate a single value, to rotate a single corner radius, because if you look at this here, this corner radius is more bent to this one.
Yes.
So I'll select this, and then in my design panel I can turn this to maybe 16, and that is more bent, but that is too much. I can turn it back to 12. That's fair enough, but I can make it even 8. Yeah, that's nice. And I can make this one maybe 4. Oh, 8 is the initial value. I can make this 10, and then I can make this one 6. I'll select it individually and then make this one 6.
Okay.
All white. That makes sense. Now if I click out first, or click on done, yeah, now if
Yes.
you look at this, I have this to be 10, and I have this to be 6, and I have this to be 8, and I have this to be 8. Yes, that's fair
Yeah.
enough. And the next thing is I'll turn on my auto layout here, and I'm going to right click on them and flip horizontal again. And after flipping, and then I'm going to just adjust the positioning. So yeah, I think what happened is this circle actually do have color. So initially I
Yes.
turned off the color of this one.
It has the same color as
Yeah, that's the
the
same color as the
background.
background shape. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select that circle. I'm trying to look for it. I'm holding control to look for it. Then I can target it now. So I select this now, I can come down to the layer and select, look for it, but I just don't want to stress myself coming down to the layer. That's why I'm using control to find where it is and then target it. So I'm going to turn on the color, and then I'm going to drag this to the side, and then I'm going to pick up this color picker, and then select this to apply that color on it. So if I click here, I can see now the color is applied already. And then I'm going to go back here to do the same thing. I'll come to the parent, holding control, select this, press I, and then select this color. Yes, that is fair enough. And one thing for sure is that didn't just only apply the color. I think that applies something else to the stroke. So I'll do that again. I'll apply the color first. Now the color is applied, but it seems okay, it applies to the stroke, not the color. It applied to the stroke. When I did that eye, because the fill is not turned on, so it only applied that stroke. It applied to the stroke. When I turned on eye and then I selected color, it changed the stroke instead because the fill was not turned on. So I'll turn on the fill and then I'll do that again. I'll apply eye, so that applied to the fill instead of applying to the stroke. All right, and that also applied to the instance of this shape. All right, that makes sense. Yeah. So another thing to worth noting here is I'll select the auto layer for the price, the image, and then the title. That's the auto layer for them, and then I'll move it to the side, because obviously looking at the design we're working with, they came out of the shape.
Yeah.
Exactly. But they are all wrapped inside a big component. All right. Okay. So now that makes sense. So now moving forward from there, so the next thing I need to flip here is the image. No, the text. The text here. I'll right click and then I'll flip it horizontal. Now that's flipped, and then I'll flip the price as well, horizontal. And I can decide to flip the image as well. I'll just come down to the image because the image comprises of a lot of things grouped together. I can flip that here. This is the component for the image. Sorry, the auto layer rather for the image. I can flip that like this, flip horizontal.
It's image and price.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, Control Z, because the price just flipped. I noticed that.
Yes.
I'll open this down. So this is the what's it called for the fish.
Image.
I can right click and then flip it back. Exactly. It turns its eyes like this. But however, there's nothing bad having it like this as well. I mean, not a big deal actually. Just a way of maybe changing direction of something. So that's if I want it that way. Alright, so I'll call this one special prawn vegetables. Special prawns vegetables. Yeah, and that makes sense. You can see the way auto layer kept expanding, adjusting their
Yes.
sizes based on the content in it.
Yes.
Exactly. So now this one can change to $95 or $90. All right, that's fair enough. So the thing is, I can change the color of the things I want. Take for example, let's say I want this one to be green color like this. I can change it to that color and then change this one as well. If the green doesn't match what I want, I can change it back to what works best for it. I just want to try my hands on this one. Hopefully maybe it works, and if it doesn't, we'll go back to default. Alright, I think this is fair enough, obviously. Alright, now I have it. This is set and it's looking. I can change the picture, obviously. You know how that works. So how it works is you just open icons 8. I think that would be part of your own class exercise to change the. I don't want to show you. I can come back to do the corrections later. That's not a problem. But that will be your class exercise. That the thing you are going to work on. So the next thing I'm going to do from here is I'll just select everything because they are all in a frame. And then because the moment I detach that from that instance, it created a frame and wrap all of them and wrap the auto layout and the background shape inside a frame. The moment I detach the instance from a component, from the main component.
Okay.
Exactly. Now I'm going to make this a component now. I'm not selecting these two things to make it a component. I'm selecting the frame to make it a component. Because if you select these two things to make a component, it will make a component, but it will not be wrapping it inside a frame.
Okay.
Exactly. So I'm going to do this now. And now that makes a component. So one beautiful thing about component is that you can substitute components. Apart from the fact that you can change styles, change decoration, change effect, change size of text, of things used in a component, you can also substitute component. That is, you can replace, you can switch one component for with another one. Do you understand what I'm saying? You can make a substitute. So for example,
I don't
here
understand.
I have this instance.
Mm.
Let's say this is what is showing. Now what I'm trying to say
Okay.
is, let's say this is what is showing for users that are not logged in into our website,
Okay.
but
Okay.
we want something else to display for users that are logged in. So if you are logged in, if you are a logged in user, by that time you should be seeing your name as a logged in user. But being a user that is not logged in, you are only seeing the default things that we want you to see. But when you log in, you then see something different. So at that point here, we want to substitute what you are seeing when you are not logged in with what you should be seeing when you are logged in. How we are going to do this with the component is, you are going to click on this instance, and then you are going to come here and substitute that with module 3, and that's it. You switch that instance from modules 1 instance to modules 3 instance. Simple. Yeah, this
I
might not
think
make sense yet, but take for example,
okay. Okay.
where it makes sense is a typical example of where it is used is, take for example on the web. Yeah, we have buttons. When you move your mouse over a button, it switch states, isn't it?
Changes color. Yeah.
Exactly. So that is just one typical example of where we use components, so where we replicate components. So
Okay.
when a mouse is moved on something, we want it to switch states, so it switches states to another thing,
Okay.
to another component.
Okay.
It switches from this state, the instance switches from this state to this state, because something, a condition is met, mouse is over that button. Are you
Okay.
understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Exactly. Now to switch back to module 1, you just come down to your design palette again, and then come down here and then switch this here. So now there's one beautiful thing that you can still do with components. Don't worry, you work on yours now. Is you can make a component set. So all these things, right, I can make them to be in the same set. In the same set. So I will make a big component. No, I'll make a set of them. And what do I mean? Yeah, it's the same thing. I'll select both of them. I'll make a big component of them. So now they are inside, they are set apart individually like this. Ctrl Z. They are set apart individually like this. They are standing on their own like this. They are standing strong like this. These are the parents. But then they are inside, they are also having a set. So going forward, if I want more sets, I can just be clicking on this plus. It's going to add more set for me. You can see more sets.
Okay.
Don't worry, let me not talk about component set for now. That might be too overwhelming. Let me just stop here for now. I know it might be too overwhelming. Let me just stop here for now, so that you can try your hands on this component thing that I've just walked you through. Then we'll talk about component sets later on if we still have time. I'm going to mute my mic. I'm going to stop this recording just now, and I'm going to mute my mic.